We're going to talk about new funding for meat processors in the state, take a close look at that farm income forecast, and much more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Look who has on green shirts. And I'm in blue.
Is this green?
Yeah, it's green.
This looks gray to me. Maybe it's the light in here.
Brian, come on. What do you think? Gray?
It looks green to me.
Okay.
Oh, you just saying that because you're in his department.
Now.
Or he's in your department.
It looks green from here.
I wore a shirt over the weekend that was gray. A shirt I've worn on the show before.
Yeah.
Gray fishing shirt. And everyone in my presence said, why do you have on blue jeans with a blue shirt? I'm like, no, I can assure you I would not make that mistake.
I have that problem.
The shirt's gray. And everyone I was around told me that shirt was blue. Never in my life. Matter of fact, I've seen the blue shirt version of that shirt. I like it. I kind of wish I owned it. But everybody said that shirt. That is green as it comes.
So are you saying that?
Yes.
Are you saying it's gray?
Yeah. I think it's the light in here.
Well,
Was it gray? Was it green when I came in your office today?
It was green.
That's not
very
true.
green.
That's not true.
so what shirt color am I wearing?
Oh,
That turquoise, like an aqua color.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not
I think
colorblind.
he's right about that, right?
Yeah.
This is blue.
Blue?
This is my favorite color, gingham. The pattern.
Oh, yeah.
Like almost everything I own has that pattern in it.
Technically, it's teal and gray.
Oh.
See,
So you
I
have to
didn't
be
say
clear.
which. I didn't
Is it
specify
the top
which
shirt or the undershirt?
Top shirt. Okay, so chime in. Let us know. By the way, your watch band is also green,
Now, that is green.
and those two are almost the same
No,
color.
they're not.
Put it up against it.
No. No.
I'm worried for your eyes.
No.
We're gonna cart you off to the eye doctor after this.
I can see color just fine.
Okay.
This is going to be one of those blue dress, gold dress scandals from a couple years ago on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
When we're officially wrapped, you are not allowed to leave the room till we turn the other lights off. So
That sounds creepy.
It's very bright in here.
we are
going to
verify.
Yeah, maybe it's these orange lights.
Look, I realize it's orange in here and stuff, but it's not that off. So
No, I can assure you that shirt is green.
I'm getting thrown under the bus here. I don't know. I thought both these people were my friends, but apparently.
Oh, we're buds.
we are your friend. We're trying to get you to understand that's a green shirt.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
on
that's
Team
it.
Gray. Let me know what team you're on, audience.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you have to watch. If you're listening,
I have a
flip over
gray
to
shirt on.
Facebook or YouTube and just take a look at his shirt. It'll take 2 seconds to know that it's green.
In the camera, it looks gray. I'll give you that.
Okay. All right. So it could be jaded.
No.
And I feel like I need to snap a picture of it right now just for evidence sake. Well, speaking of gray, I was pretty gray this week. You guys know why?
Why?
One of my favorite artists of all time passed away.
Oh, yeah.
You've been singing Margaritaville all week?
Well, I've not sang Margaritaville very much, but I have sung things like Changes in Latitudes and let's see what else. Pirate Looks at 40,
Yeah.
Pencil Thin Mustache. The old Jimmy Buffett passed away way too soon, I should say. 76 years old.
They did.
Woke up to that news Saturday morning, and that was pretty sad. I don't know.
We've had some heavy hitters pass away in this summer, I guess.
I saw somebody say that too, and I agree. I mean, it feels like we've lost some superstars in the past few months. But that was a big one for me. I don't know. You know, a lot of people don't think about Jimmy Buffett as being country necessarily, and I would say in his modern, iteration, artisthood. I don't know what you would say.
Island country.
Yeah, he does island
country,
things.
yeah.
And certainly he's brought people along, right? I mean, I think you could say Kenny Chesney followed his lead and some other folks.
Totally.
Yeah.
In as many decades as he's gone through,
Mm-hmm.
his genre has flopped around.
He's
Just
evolved.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
the genre's changed so much. He may have been categorized as country at one point,
Yeah.
like beach country or something.
Yeah.
But that first record, when you go back and listen to Come Monday and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I mean,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is straight country, man.
Right,
I
right.
mean, it was.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, he started in
Well,
Nashville. He said Jerry Jeff Walker took him to Key West, and that's how
Yeah.
he got there.
Well, there's no doubt there's a lot of country artists that are inspired by him.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, good music and just a good human, I think. I mean, I've seen so many tales I've read online
Yeah.
of him inspiring folks.
So would you say he's your number one
doing good.
favorite?
No. He's not my number one, but he's definitely up there. I didn't know who he was before I got to college, I don't think. And I think that was maybe, at least for guys my age, a rite of passage to kind of get into Jimmy Buffett at some point. I don't know. Warren Carter, when he left here, when his last conversation with us as staff and employees, he quoted a Jimmy Buffett song.
Did he?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
he did.
Yeah. So I'm assuming he was a big Buffett fan too. But anyway, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
In chippier news, I should say, you guys ought to be feeling pretty well. Your Hogs.
Oh, yeah.
Man, did they play well on Saturday?
They play better than that team that played against Oklahoma last weekend.
yeah, buddy. Ooh.
I watched a
was
little bit of that
tough.
game, and it was hard to watch.
I did not watch, and my eyes are so thankful for that. I had a friend of mine. He's a literal mathematician, and he texted a group of our friends and said he went back as far as he could in the record books, which was to 1974,
Yeah.
and could not find a worse beating for
wow.
Arkansas State University in
Woof.
that time. Yeah. Tough times.
How long
Butch-
has Butch been there?
Butch Jones came in 21. He's any guesses on his record?
At
Because
Arkansas State?
I'll tell you, I looked it up this week and I was even shocked as an avid fan. I was
Career
shocked.
record or
at Arkansas State since 21,
I don't know.
5-20.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hmm.
5-20. That's tough. Talking about, I mean, we had the most consecutive conference championships
Yeah.
in all of college football, the most bowl game appearances.
Yeah.
In all of college football, consecutive bowl game appearances. I mean, we were riding high.
Yeah.
So anyway, tough. I'm gonna go up Saturday and watch us play Memphis.
Butch was on the rise, and then he got to Tennessee. And things kind of
Yep.
wheels fell off the bus. for
Yeah,
him.
they're at Central Michigan.
I
was
figured he'd do
highly
pretty well at
successful.
A-State.
I did too. I really had high hopes, but it hasn't gone so well. We'll see if we turn it around. We'll
And I
see
don't
if
want
he-
anybody to get confused. I didn't say that to make fun of Arkansas State. I'm a big fan of Arkansas State, even though I'm a U of A alumni.
Yeah, I can vouch for you. I mean, look, it's
I
fun
want
to see
them
a
to
winning
win.
football team.
I want anybody in Arkansas to win, right?
Yeah, so wish
So-
things were going better there, but
Since you brought it up,
yeah.
I know this is a sensitive subject around the sports world in this state, but
Yeah.
are you pro Arkansas State versus Razorbacks or anti?
That's interesting you asked me that question. When I was much younger and dumber, some could argue that point, but I may be just as dumb now, but I used to argue avidly for that.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't they play? They should
Right.
play,
Right.
all this. I don't know, man. The older I've gotten, the more I've just said, do what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is at this point.
You've heard that argument to keep the money in the state.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I mean?
I think they should. By the way, I think they should. But I'm not to the level that I used to be where, it's like, whatever, this rules, we need the legislature to force them to play and all
Right.
that. All those
That's kinda
arguments that
crazy.
used to. I mean, these were real arguments
Yeah.
back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the day,
They were.
And beyond that, would I like to see us play? Absolutely.
Are they
Probably
supposed to
not this
play
year,
in
but
2025?
There's a game, I think, on the schedule. Whether or not it holds, I don't know. But
Okay.
I think there is. Yes, I would love to see it. I don't know if it happens. I don't know where it happens. Probably Fayetteville, if anywhere.
I'd heard rumors Little Rock, but
Well, I think that was the vision, but I don't know. There seems to be quite a bit of controversy around that.
Let's just throw it off the
too.
rails and go the Liberty Bowl.
Let's take it to Memphis. I think fans on both sides. I think fans on both sides would appreciate that.
you've probably got plenty of alumni for both schools in that area.
Absolutely.
Or in true Razorback fashion, let's just go to Dallas.
Jerry World.
Yeah.
I knew that's what you were going to say. That's funny.
Dallas.
No, I would like to see him play. I think it'd be fun. I think the revenue would be great for just the excitement. Would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit like the Benton, like the salt ball.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it'd be fun.
But it'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Yeah.
it would be.
So, we'll see. But anyway, college football is kicked
Yeah.
off. We're in full steam ahead. NFL starts tonight.
It does.
Is
yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Commish?
Our fantasy football league officially kicks off
Tonight? Yeah. We have a Farm Bureau Fantasy
Do
Football
you have anybody
League.
playing tonight?
I don't even know.
I don't
set
either.
my lineup like right after we drafted.
I don't even know
and
who
I
plays
haven't-
tonight. Do the Raiders play tonight?
I don't know. I feel like it was on at the gym this morning, but that was a really long time ago. So, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, hopefully you're much more educated about the NFL games or schedule than we are.
I won one game last year, so
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I think you're going to do better this year.
at least I picked my own team.
Always get run through the mud for doing auto draft, but you know what? It treats me okay. I got second place last year. Anything else going on with you guys this week? I feel like it's been fairly busy.
Short week, 4 days for us.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been busy with Zoom meetings and all sorts of stuff, catching up on stuff.
Yeah.
Things have kind of slowed down outside the office, so it's given me time to do all this office work that I've kind of let
Been
linger.
putting off, yeah. Boy, did we get some weather yesterday afternoon
We did.
Oh man,
through here.
for sure.
I mean, at one point when the lights were flickering off here, I just kind of put my stuff down and turned my chair towards the window and watched. It was amazing to see, as folks who camp quite a bit, that's kind of, and a kid that gets kind of anxious with storms. It's like very rarely do you get to just sit down and appreciate a storm blow through. And I know, Lord bless everybody who got damaged. Matthew's been without power. Well, I mean, obviously, we hate to see that happen, but it was really something to see come through.
It was. It hit us pretty hard.
Yeah. Those pine trees out front were
moving back and forth.
swaying, man.
Yeah. Could have thought
So-
one of them was going to break over.
Looked like it.
You know where that tornado hit Little Rock? There were trees again that were down and falling across houses and fences in that same area.
Yeah, it basically hit a really similar area out around PV and off Rodney Parham and areas like that. So anyway, if you got damage, hopefully you're okay. Thoughts to you on that, and hopefully you get back whole soon. Well, I guess we've got a few announcements to cover here. The first one, you may have gotten an email about this today if you're on our email alert list. But there, I say that I kind of jumped ahead. There is a new Ag Insider out, and I'll get back to that email here in a second. There's a new Ag Insider out that breaks down the impacts of H-2A wage requirements, the impact that has on farmers. And this is something your team put together.
Correct.
Last week, I believe it went out on Thursday. A week ago today.
Yeah, Tyler and I worked on it for about a week or two. I will admit, Tyler did a lot of the work.
Yeah, well,
I was there to help and assist. But this article, I mean, as you've probably, if you've been hearing or listening or watching the podcast, you've heard us talk about H-2A quite a bit on this show. And with the new SOC codes, the new wage rules that came out in July, this article kind of goes into depth on what that means for a farmer's operation, specifically to what those SOC codes are, what the specific wages are, new wages for those line items, and a brief example of, say, you have 6 employees and this is how much it cost last year to pay them for the entire year. Now, this year, if you had 3 or 4 that fell into those new SOC codes, how much will your labor expenses go up because of that? And it goes into a little bit more detail on other issues that are associated with H-2A program. And we're just trying to keep our membership as well as other farmers across the state informed, because this is going to undoubtedly have an impact on your operation, given how high input costs already are. This is just going to make it worse.
Yeah. Well, and we are going to talk about that, actually. We're going to talk about farm income forecasts and the impact that input costs have had on that. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit, but you're exactly right. This is it's been an issue. I've been to several PD meetings this year, and it's been a conversation at PD meetings. We know that the House Ag Committee has started an ag labor working group. Yeah, and that's where I'll get back to that email. We covered this news a few weeks ago, but Congressman Rick Crawford is co-chair of that committee, and they're taking a look at all these ag labor issues with a serious focus in the H-2A program.
Correct.
And they're asking for input right now. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing?
Yeah.
And you can provide your input directly to that working group via a survey online. Now, we sent out an email this morning with a link to that survey that sort of explains the input process a little bit.
Correct.
But I want to tell you, we covered this last week on the show. If you go back to last week's show on Facebook, you'll see right there that survey is linked.
Yep.
If you want to go back to your podcast app, it's linked in the show notes. So there's 3 different ways right there that you can go and take this survey to give your input. I know a lot of people have specific input on this, and if a person drives a truck for more than 1 hour a week, and I have to pay them as a truck, all these details that we've heard over and over at PD meetings. Now is the time to make that known.
Yeah, and I think Crawford's plan or his committee's plan is to pass this information on to the U.S. House Ag Committee, and by the end of the year, sometime like that, beginning early next year, and hopefully, get your information or your input in as soon as you possibly can, so you can be accounted for, because they're trying to take in as much as they possibly can before they send in their final report. Yeah,
you're right. That's a good description. So we know that working group can't take action, but it can recommend action.
Correct.
To the committee. And guys, we've said this 1,000 times on this show. Your needs are unique to your farm, absolutely. And so without you expressing your needs and the unique needs that you have, nobody else can know.
Yeah.
So it's, these are the guys who can, this process is going to be helpful to you, hopefully. Yeah. So go ahead and jump in there. In the meantime, if you want to read that Ag Insider, go to arcag.arfb.com. That's ARKAG.arfb.com and take a look at it. This is our new news portal we've talked about the past few weeks. It's live on there. We need to do a deep dive on this. And this like me interviewing you for the deep dive? I mean, how does this work now since you helped write this? Do you interview Tyler?
I don't know. Since we both wrote it, I guess, or Tyler and I both wrote it together.
Yeah.
I guess we would interview each other.
I don't know.
I don't know. What do you think, John?
Yeah.
I don't know, Tyler.
Yeah, exactly. So John's just going to interview himself for that deep dive. So make sure
maybe
that
you sit in the middle and you interview both of us.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I'll put 2 faces, 2 masks on. So anyway, we'll have that deep dive coming to you soon. So be ready. But anyway, in the meantime, go read that Ag Insider, arcag.arfb.com, and certainly respond to that survey.
Yes, please.
And then one other thing to note before we get to crop progress report, a pretty cool program from the Arkansas Ag Department's Forestry Division. We mentioned it last week. This is that 2023 Shade Trees on Playground program. Applications are open right now through September 15th. This is a program built for schools that need additional shade on playgrounds. If your school is selected, you can receive up to 5 Arkansas native shade trees, mulch, watering supplies, and planting guidelines. Cool. And Forestry Division staff will come out and help you plant those trees during the ceremony this fall. So, if you're interested in this, go to the Arkansas Ag Department's website. Again, it's the Shade Trees on Playground. They call it STOP program. Go check it out, apply, see what you can get for your playground. Because I think if you're a school, I should say,
Yeah.
And I think this is a wonderful program.
Yeah, especially with how hot it's starting to be every year.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think I said last week we didn't have any shade on my elementary school playground.
yeah, well, we know what that slide felt like when you hit it in shorts, back in the day. All right. Well, without further ado, unless y'all have anything else, we'll hit the crop progress report and then get into the news. All right.
Go get it.
All right. Sounds good. It has been a week since our last report, and just as we predicted, because I believe we did, this would be where we play that clip from last week. Dun, dun, dun. Harvest is really going to take off. All right. We have seen a major jump in harvest progress. I do my own sound effects.
You're pretty good at it.
Appreciate
I'm
that.
impressed.
When I say major, I mean major progress. And with that progress comes some ground truth in yields and quality. We'll see what that looks like this week as well. I was listening to some analysts yesterday who talked about market reaction to yields and quality. They believe the country may not have the bumper crop that USDA had predicted. So let's see what the report says this week. This is just some rumblings I've heard. The corn crop in Arkansas appears to be looking better than we thought last week. Quality wise, only 12% is rated poor to very poor. That's much better than we reported last week. We're looking at 65% of the crop rated good to excellent, with about a quarter rated fairly. We have harvested 30% of the crop, double what we had done according to last week's report when we recorded the podcast. So major progress there. Cotton continues to do well in Arkansas. We've got almost 3/4 of the crop rated as good to excellent, and only 8% in poor condition. 41% of bowls are open, a little behind on the 5-year, but well ahead of where we were this time last year. We hope it continues going this way for cotton growers, of course. And then peanuts are still, I would say, at the top of the quality column with 82% of the state's crop in good to excellent column this week. There are a few acres, but less than 5% of the total acreage in the state rated poorly. No updates on harvest just yet, of course, but we'll continue to monitor progress there too. The state's rice crop continues to look strong with nearly 75% of the acres rated good to excellent. We've made tremendous progress in harvest this week as well, nearly tripling progress. So we doubled corn. We've tripled on rice over the last week. And we remain behind schedule of last year and even the 5-year tad. But with continued dry weather, we're bound to catch up soon.
Saw a lot of rice being cut last weekend.
Really? Yeah. That's I mean, like I said, we've triple progress there since that report last Tuesday. So moving on to soybeans, we're looking at almost 65% good to excellent there, and 38% of the crop has started changing colors. That's a 10% jump over last week. 9% of the state's crop is mature, and 19% of the crop is dropping leaves. Believe it or not, USDA says bean harvest is on the board in Arkansas.
Yeah,
with a big 1%. I'm sure that's all thanks to those South Arkansas farmers that we have mentioned a few times here on the show. And then river levels. Let's talk about that briefly. Continue to be a concern. I saw a report on Twitter yesterday that showed Cairo to New Orleans is at 10.5 feet, a 15 to 20% reduction.
Yeah.
And toe sizes are being reduced by 15%. The river at Memphis as of noon Tuesday was negative 5.76 feet. This will continue to have impacts on farmers until we see measurable rains here and points north. I know I saw yesterday too that we've put a video out on the impacts of river levels and harvest that we went out to Lonoke County, talked to Jeremy Ross, soybean agronomist for the state, a grower out there, talking about this issue. A lot of folks are watching it as we start to see, and I know they're dredging. That's part of what I read too. But we're starting to see that river level really get to be a concern.
I hope it rains.
Yeah, I was so yesterday, as much as it stormed and rained out here, and I don't know that we have a rain gauge on the grounds out here.
I don't know.
If not, we should. But I didn't get a drop at my house.
We got rain at the house.
Did you really?
Enough for me not to have to water.
Really?
Yeah.
I need that.
But I think we went to water anyways today. So
yeah. So anyway, yep, there we go. There's crop progress, big time leaps in corn and rice.
It's
harvest.
full tilt.
Yeah, it is.
Beans hadn't quite taken off yet, and I guess we're not in cotton, but
yeah,
harvest has started, and it is.
Absolutely.
Getting it.
Absolutely.
All right. You want to get in some news?
Let's do it.
All right. We're a little late, I think, on this reporting, but it's just about a week or so.
Better late than never.
Big deal.
Yeah.
The Arkansas State Plant Board met for the first time since Governor Sanders appointed 8 new members to the State Plant Board. I'll list off the new members here, starting with Kyle Baltz of Pocahontas, Robert Thorne of Marion, David Wallace Jr. of Crawfordsville, Sammy Angel of Lake Village, Robin Ralston of Atkins, George Dunklin of Humphrey, Garrett Frost of Mariana, and John Beerbaum of Lake Village. All their terms started this year, of course, but they expire August 15th of 2028.
All right.
Yeah. During the meeting, the board also elected officers, Chairman Matthew Marsh, Vice Chairman Bruce Alford, and Secretary Sam Stuckey. Their meeting notes or minutes were listed on their website, and I took a little
sampling from
notes from their notes. The board received a report from the department's abandoned pesticide collection program, in which to date 5.8 million pounds of abandoned pesticides have been safely collected and disposed of. The board also approved enforcement settlements associated with 2 pest control program violations, 39 pesticide program violations, and 144 Bureau of Standard violations. And I think one of the things I really wanted to point out with this was that it's been a long time since we've had a full plant board. Over a year?
The constitutionality issue.
And that was because it was unconstitutional of how those board members were nominated, and that's kind of what also led into the nomination process change for the commodity boards as well.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the first time they've done business as a full board in probably over a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so
here we go. Well,
see
thanks
what
for
happens from here on out.
Yeah, thanks for reporting on that, and especially those new members. It's quite a few. All right, I'll kick off today with some interesting news out of the Nixon presidency that farmers will want to hear.
Way back. This Watergate?
Yeah, exactly. All right, if you have not veered off the road, this comes from our friends at the U of A System Division of Ag, and it's related to the Endangered Species Act, which was signed by President Nixon in 1973. For the first time, believe it or not, since that law was signed, there is a manual to help farmers thanks to the National Agricultural Law Center, and it's available right now. According to the story, Bridget Rollins, an attorney whose research for the center focuses on environmental law, said she saw a significant need in farming for a guide to the historic and wide-ranging piece of legislation. Creating the 65-page Endangered Species Act manual, a practical guide to the ESA for agricultural producers, was no small task. After all, the document of law itself is 44 pages long.
No.
Rollins said it took about a year and a half to write the manual, and she said the manual has been online for a little while, but it's a living document and will be updated as needed. Today, the Endangered Species Act plays a significant role in agriculture. In 2022, the act prompted the EPA to ban use of one herbicide in 11 Arkansas counties to protect the American burying beetle. In June, the EPA rolled out a proposal that would limit pesticide use in the habitat of 27 listed species. I think these are both stories that we've covered. That all tracks back to that Endangered Species Act from 1973. Anyway, if you're interested in reading the manual or referencing it on your farm, visit goodness gracious, let me start over. Visit nationalaglawcenter.org. That's nationalaglawcenter.org. This even the manual rather, it even includes an acronym glossary, which is something that will absolutely come in handy when reading through pages and pages of legislation, government documents.
This the EPA part about the 27 listed species and where you can and cannot spray. That was one of our policy development topics this year.
Oh, really?
We got a lot of discussion out of that.
Yeah. So all that ties right back in, and there's never been this guide, if you will, for farmers to interpret that piece of legislation. So, which I guess now would be 50 years old. That's quick math. I put a lot out
How old
there
are you?
risking that math.
How many years?
It's 8 years older than me, believe it or not. So anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, good story.
And it is. I clicked on it, opened it up. It's table of contents, the whole nine. It should be pretty easy. It's
Took
PDF.
a year and a half to write.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So it tells you how complicated some of this legislation is that farmers have to deal with. All right. Well, let's take a short break from the news.
Okay.
Have you considered running for public office? No, I'm not talking about you, Mac, our listeners. So we've got some great news. Registration is now open for our How to Win an Election seminar.
That's right. The seminar teaches how to evaluate the candidate and the electorate, build a campaign structure, raise money, and how to get voter attention, plus much more. Jason, fun fact.
All right.
According to the American Farm Bureau, candidates who have been through the program have a 75% winning percentage.
I might need to jump in on this
should.
then. The seminar takes place right here at our office on October 17th and 18th, and registration is already open. It only costs $225 to attend, and that includes the classes, and we're going to feed you too. To learn more or register, just go to arfb.com and search How to Win an Election today. But you better get signed up quick because registration closes October 13th.
Okay.
All right, let's get back to the news. How about it?
Do it.
Right.
So this is my last one of the day.
It is.
Yeah, it's almost
Moving through
it feels like a Friday. USDA has announced another round of funding for the construction of new and existing meat and poultry processing facilities. So if you remember, like right after COVID or during COVID, that whole pandemic period, or what we think of as like the peak of it, the food supply chain crashed, right?
Yep.
And beef shelves of meat just went empty in the grocery store. So the federal government, enlisted a program to try to increase processing facilities or small processing facilities in every state to help increase the local supply of meat. So this is just the second time they've done this. And so the program's called the Meat and Poultry Processing Expansion Program, or MPPEP.
All right, that's an acronym for you.
Yeah, you think that's going to be in that manual?
Yeah.
So this program provides grants to help eligible processors expand their processing capacity, which create new, better, and more processing options for meat and poultry producers. USDA Rural Development designed the MPPEP to encourage competition and sustainable growth in the U.S. meat processing sector and to help improve supply chain resiliency, just like I said. Entities that engage or plan to engage in meat and poultry processing, including private, nonprofit, tribal, cooperative, state, or local government, among other entities, are eligible to apply for the program. Private entities must be independently owned and operated. All entities must be domestically owned, and their meat and poultry processing facilities must be physically located and operated within the U.S. or its territories. So I want to go through a list of how these funds can be used specifically. They can be used for building, modernizing, or expanding existing processing facilities, including mobile slaughter units, which we have a few of those here.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Developing, installing, and modernizing equipment and technology, ensuring compliance with packaging and labeling requirements, upholding occupational and other safety requirements, modifying facilities or equipment to protect food safety, offsetting costs associated with becoming an inspected facility, which is a pretty lengthy process, whether you're doing state or USDA inspection, staffing or operational costs specifically tied to the proposed project, supporting workforce recruitment, training, and retention, posting USDA standard infrastructure investment signage during construction of the project. The maximum award amount is $10 million or 30% of total project costs, whichever is less. The minimum award amount is $250,000. Projects including construction and equipment associated with the project are eligible for grants from $250,000 to $10 million. Projects that only require equipment purchases are eligible for grants from $5 million to $10 million.
Wow.
Some other requirements here. Eligible applicants must process or plan to process one or more species subject to the Federal Meat Inspection Act or the Poultry Production Inspection Act. Additionally, if the applicant engages or proposes to engage in further processing, they must include the products of slaughter from their own facility. have or plan to get a federal grant of inspection through USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service, a grant inspection under the Cooperative Interstate Shipment Program, or a federal or state-based meat and poultry inspection program equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, comply with the National Environmental Policy Act and Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act and all other applicable state, local, or tribal laws. To apply for this, you'll want to go to USDA's website, and we can put a direct link here in the bottom of the show notes for the actual application. I literally forgot to put it here in my script.
Well, if you'll send it to me, we'll
Yeah.
make sure it gets up. I bet you can search MPP EP
Yeah.
On the old Googs there. and
Yeah,
it'll
if you
get
just
brought
search
up.
Meat and Poultry Processing Expansion Program with USDA Rural Development, I'm sure it'll pop right up.
Yeah. If you send me that link, we'll get it up.
Absolutely.
And gosh, I mean, that covers a lot. A good opportunity here to continue.
With the state meat inspection program up and running,
Mhm.
I think they've got 2 or 3 locations now, and I mean this opens up even more opportunity for that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I told you, I think I may have mentioned I was going to the game this weekend. Absolutely plan on going by the A-State meat market while I'm up there. And I read this morning that they have partnered with a agritourism, a pumpkin patch in Northeast Arkansas. It's really popular to sell their bratwurst at the
I've heard that facility is really nice.
at the
It's brand new.
at the pumpkin patch. So speaking of bratwurst and locally raised beef, I took some of those beef brats from one of our favorite producers this weekend and shared with some friends and family. And,
how were
they
your
a big hit?
How are your
Big
brisket
hit.
tacos?
Delicious, might I say? They were delicious. I did not cook the brisket, so I can't take credit.
Yeah,
But I did cook those beef brats,
Good.
and they were delicious. If you haven't gotten
I've had
any
them.
of
They're
those.
really good.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Well, last story of the week. We hadn't talked about food, so we had to throw something in
I have
there.
to.
I just, we've got some data, dollars and cents from the USDA Economic Research Service for the last news story of the day. This comes from the farm sector. Income and finances highlights from the Farm Income Forecast August 2023 report. We also had some help from AFBF in breaking down the numbers here. The headline, though, really, USDA's most recent report drops net farm income expectations for 2023 lower than the initial February estimate, saying that farm incomes will be down 23% from last year. And when adjusted for inflation, that income forecast is down just over 25%. Let's talk about why. The decline of more than $41 billion nearly erases the nearly $43 billion increase forecast between 2021 and 2022. The forecast also shows farm and ranch production expenses continuing to increase, rising by 7% this year to $458 billion. That's production expenses I'm talking about, following a record increase last year of $56 billion. So $458 billion total this year. The increase last year was $56 billion. According to reporting from the American Farm Bureau, direct government payments are estimated to decrease 19%, making the third consecutive decrease in government payments for producers since the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Ad hoc and supplemental program payments such as the Emergency Relief Program, we call it ERP, Quality Loss Adjustment Program, and other Farm Bill designated disaster programs are expected to decrease by 34% this year also. Much of the forecasted decline in 2023 net farm income is tied to lower crop and livestock cash receipts, continued increases in production costs, and a decrease in ad hoc government support based on AFBF's summary of that report. They noted that it's important to remember that USDA is evaluating new information and data as it becomes available, shifting calculations from estimates to actual values. This means that there's still much variability in 2023 net farm income. Of course, we'll have a final report probably at the beginning of 2024 there. However, these estimates show the relationship between, on average, falling commodity prices and rising production costs and the ultimate impact on farmers' bottom lines. It's all very important to communicate to your legislators as they are currently working through that farm bill. Almost every one of these topics that we talked about as being a reason why, if not all of them, that as a reason why this income is down, are issues that are addressed or at least named in the farm bill.
Yeah.
So, again, make your voice heard. Let these folks know exactly what you're seeing, where those input costs are up, where those, disaster ad hoc payments are down, things like that. Let them know so this can be addressed.
Yeah, these public comments, again, are a direct line for you, the producer, to have contact or make actual changes to policy or laws or rulings. And outside of that, you don't have that. So it's very important to give your input, your opinion on what should be changed or what's the problem and how it can be fixed.
And we know, Senator, you can make those comments known through our office. Senator Bozeman's been out and about. I think he was in Texas last week or week before. He was in Alaska before that. So he's out hearing these concerns of producers, meaning the input time is still open. You've still got time to make your voice heard.
Yeah.
And if you're a listener outside of the state of Arkansas by chance or a viewer, this goes for you too. There's still opportunity out there.
Absolutely.
So anyway, well, I think that's the news for this week. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
All right. Well, guess we'll just wrap this bad boy up.
The time to go home.
Yeah. We might as well. I mean,
you don't have anything
It's
for
not
us?
like we're going to get anything correct.
I've got a few. Okay. I did pick a few, and they're all random, but it is time to play.
Boom. There we go.
There it is.
The highlight of my week.
I thought I heard a train in my ear for a minute.
Oh, man, there's sound effects going on all over the place. So,
Goodness gracious.
we should be playing
Sounds of
What's
the
That Sound? But, I don't know if our listeners can pick up on anything.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they hear that.
All right. Starbucks fans.
Okay. I've drank a couple Starbucks a time or two.
In what country did the first Starbucks open outside of North America?
Surely that was Canada.
UK.
Japan.
Japan. Interesting.
Yes. All
I don't
right.
know why I said the UK. That's like the furthest away from, was it Oregon or Washington that Starbucks is from?
Yeah. I don't know if it's further than Japan.
I mean, it's
Might be a little closer.
they'd have to.
I guess if you went left,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that drives you nuts,
It's
doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's start a conversation about geography.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. What is the tiny piece at the end of a shoelace called?
taper.
You feel confident about that.
That's what it does. It tapers it down.
Yeah.
It does.
I don't know.
Tape.
The tip.
It's an aglet.
An aglet?
Aglet.
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 Yes, nowhere close.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not taper.
0 for
Thanks
2.
for the clarity.
Okay. Let's go to Morse code.
Oh man, I've always wanted to learn Morse code. In case you know that,
Well-
Morse code and like quicksand. As growing up as a kid, you thought
two-
you were going to have
two
to.
things.
You really needed to know Morse code, and quicksand was going to be an issue for you growing up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
As in, if you're sinking in quicksand, you're going to need to.
no, you just never know. You know,
There was a big fear of quicksand. I'm with him. Like, those are the two things you need to know more about.
Okay.
It seemed like it was in every movie.
and if you watch MacGyver, you're like, man, I got to figure out how to fix things with a paperclip and a rubber band.
And quicksand is one of them. So
The
okay.
hours I spent
Duly noted.
watching or trying to play MacGyver outside with my Swiss Army knife.
All right, here we go. In 2009, what became the first Morse code character to be added since World War II?
Smiley face.
No, it's I'm torn here. I'm going to say the ampersand.
What's the ampersand? What's that?
You are very.
Oh, the at.
It's the at symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the at symbol.
Yeah.
So
I was
How
thinking
many
because
dots and
social.
dashes is that symbol?
I have no idea. I am not a Morse code
I'm just very glad that it wasn't
expert.
like, okay, here's the Morse code question. And he starts tapping on the thing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Should
I would have been like, oh.
Yeah, you thought I was gonna tap something out. What did I just say?
Yeah, exactly. That's
No,
what I thought
I'm
it was
not
going
gonna
to
do
be.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw you a little courtesy here.
Okay.
I figured out the color of your shirt.
Did you?
It's not gonna be green. It's not gonna be gray.
I wouldn't think so.
It is grain.
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 Oh, hey, how about that? Dun, dun, shh.
I thought you were going to say olive.
And well, you're
But,
welcome.
yeah, grain.
It's definitely the light that makes you think it's grain.
It's something because I don't see a bit of gray in that
I'm
shirt.
just glad that it took up so much energy and effort on our part with this
it
podcast
did.
today. So,
I feel very singled out.
Well, I know we've had a long one this week, so we better wrap it up there. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find new episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version where you get your podcast.
That's right. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown.
And I'm John McMinn.
We'll see you next week.